Hello, Mysticwicks. This is Toby Stimson calling. I was a little lazy and I thought I would do a video response to this message as opposed to just typing. So for the YouTube people who are watching this is a response to the White Hindu Converts thread on Mysticwicks forum. You can find the link right there. So I feel like you raise a really good point, David, and I think that it's a really important point. And I think that you'll find this in any kind of religion. If somebody converts into a religion, I think you'll find that initially the need to feel a part of that religion will cause some people to, definitely take on certain cultural aspects or become very enthusiastic about taking on certain aspects of that religion. And I think that it's just human nature. I think we also have to look at why those individuals wanted to convert to that religion in the first place. We have many different issues, and the Islam link that Lynn added definitely kind of corresponds to this as well. We see this in every religion, really. I mean, the same issues apply. I think that Islam is definitely dealing with it right now because since 9/11, Islam has been in a very cultural focus in the West, and the attention has been placed on it. So a lot more knowledge about it has come into the public sphere, and I feel like that is probably one aspect to why Islam is facing a lot of kind of convertitis. Another, I think, going back to the main issue that you raised, I think that looking at the reasons why someone would convert is definitely going to be indicative of how much they take on or, have convertitis when they do convert. If we look at, like, for example, underprivileged people or people who have a very low self-esteem or low self-image, will take that on as an identity builder and will take that on as a form of, creating their identity so as not to appear weak anymore or not to feel weak. The sense of belonging can also be very powerful at times, but it can also be overbearing. If somebody joins a religion in order to feel like they are part of something or feel empowered, then they may end up looking at, joining a more fundamentalist or more extremist sect. They may become very Puritan in their ideas. They may begin to see that as kind of a fundamental fundamental point of view, and so anything outside of that, as the link that Lynn gave shows us, the same can be true in Hinduism as well. We see groups like ISKCON, the Hare Krishna movement. We see Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Not to discredit those groups at all, but I feel like when we look at some of the members who joined in the 1960s and 1970s, quite a few people joined those groups at that time because they were disenfranchised with, the culture that they belonged to at that time, especially white people. And so I feel like that is another issue. Whenever somebody is, living within a racist society, or within any kind of, oppressive situation, then they will try and find a way out, and religion is also one of those. We see this in Hinduism as well. We see with the Dalit movement by Ambedkar, who converted to Buddhism from Hinduism in order to get away from the caste system, which was a major criticism that he had of Hinduism. But of course, I mean, this is also something that we see generally in culture. Like, I really strongly believe Orientalism comes into this. We look at, for example, the current fad of Japanese culture. I'm not quite sure how it is in Europe where you are, David, but I know in Canada and the United States, a lot of people have really connected with anime culture and will assume that that takes, that is indicative of Japanese culture. And so, people go to anime conventions all the time to kind of promote their kind of idea of Japanese culture. They want to, visit Japan. They are interested in Japanese spirituality. They'll start eating with chopsticks. All this other stuff. I know in my high school, there was a group of kids who were like that. But I mean, and nothing against them, they were really cool kids. But, I think looking underneath that, we have to really assess kind of where that's coming from, right? We see that in that situation, and we can say the same thing with anything really, like American culture in India as well. I have quite a few friends from Mumbai, and they say that for them at least, being able to go to kind of a McDonald's and wearing jeans and all these other like American cultural things was an indicativeness of your coolness, right? Your ability to do that was like, oh, you're emulating Americans, you must be really like high class. And we see the same thing with Japanese culture as well. White people tending to take on, really enjoy Japanese anime, and then kind of convert that on to being, oh, Japan is perfect, I want to live in Japan, and then, taking that as being a sign of, coolness or whatever. Looking at just general kind of away from social issues, I feel like whenever somebody takes on a religion that is so tied to culture, it may feel more authentic to take on certain cultural traits, and I'm certainly guilty of that. I remember earlier on when I converted to Hinduism, I remember I was working at Walmart one time, and this Indian guy came in with his wife, and he was looking for socks. And I was 17 at the time, very young, but at the same time, like, it's still kind of inexcusable. And when he approached, I placed my hands like this, and turns out this guy was a Muslim, but, just by his name, it sounded like he was Muslim. So at that time, I didn't really understand that. So it was a little bit embarrassing in retrospect. In the time, I was like, yeah, let's do this, I remember also buying, I went to the Toronto's Little India section in town here, and I actually bought myself a kurta. So I really did buy it on a whim. Like, I bought it, trying to be cool or whatever. But I think looking at it critically, I think it was more to kind of fit in more than anything else. Not that I ever wear that. Like, I haven't worn that in such a long time. But I think that, it kind of played into this whole mindset of, in order to kind of feel more authentic in this, I should take on cultural traits, which I think has been a struggle for me at least, is to kind of differentiate between what exactly is cultural, what exactly is something that I could take on, and what is something that is appropriate for me to take on, but also, to kind of separate things from culture, because Hinduism is, as an ethnic religion, and even that's a problematic statement. It's something where I, as a white person, will never be able to fully understand certain aspects, and I, as a white person, will bring certain kind of mindsets and biases that somebody who grew up in the religion would not necessarily have. So I think that definitely does play into it, and that should play into it. But at the same time, I, as a white person, also have, the benefit of the point of view which somebody who was born into the religion wouldn't have. And so, that experience kind of adds to my, kind of experience. And so to just wrap this whole 10-minute long presentation up, I think that I would say that white people need to be a lot more careful when deciding to convert to another religion. But then again, the issues that that's been raised in this thread is that conversion in general causes not issues, but potential issues. A converted person isn't natural to that religion, and I mean there's certainly issues even with the whole idea of converting to Hinduism, because some people believe that there is no possible way that you can convert to Hinduism because of the amalgam of different issues. Other people, they say that yes, that's fine.